Max Nickel claims that she was supposed to write the rest.
Remember, guys, you can play a slot machine, and you can win 2,000% of your money back from that slot machine. But if you lose,
for the site, but then she was laid off alongside most of the other editorial staff back in February. Now that's when video games like Out Media decided to lay off most of their editorial staff. Not just the video gamer, but also the sports industry. After forcing many of their replacing AI judgment, the stuff that they were already doing to pump out the world.
Love to see this.
The only way they could expand well is that means that, say, videogamer.com can actually pull off this.
They will be able to. This will be the future. And I think this is happening. I think what's happening is that in order to outline what they're going to say, and then they some creative process. That's what I want to say.
But the levels of banditry actually mean they do. So
Like, it's not like SEO was invented. SEO, search engine optimization, making sure that your videos are towards the top of search results, by the way, in case anybody wasn't paying attention. So basically, this has been a meta game on the internet for 15 years. This is probably longer than that, really, ever since the internet's existed. Like, you had the Epstein files. We're talking about SEO, right? So, like, this is a very, very, like, long-term thing. And the thing is that now you have AI that's helping you do it. But the reason why some people's SEO gets very high is a amount of content, right? Like for me, for example, I don't know if you guys know this, but like if you open up, like I opened up on my PS5 and I typed the letter A and Asmongold came up on my PS5 on the YouTube search. Like not, you know, like any sort of other variation of it, not Asmon, but just the letter A. And one of the big reasons for that is because we put out so much fucking content. There are so many videos coming out that, big surprise, you're gonna have a lot of people searching for it. Did you try it incognito? I was not logged in, and it was my console that I had just installed the YouTube app on, and I had never used it before, and I only had one game installed on it ever before.
Essentially have to now. That's why you see guides across so many sites as one little example. So what we're seeing is very little traction on high effort, like unique original reporting, and basically just the press and formalized structured outlets with meaningful backing kind of being pressured like never before on...
Well, think about this, right? And Bellior remembers this. Do you remember all those dick-sucking retards that made all of their glowing reviews for New World and how amazing the game was, and all of their screenshots were from level 18? But then me, the actual virtuoso, that had 2 level 60 characters in the beta because I had a mental illness, was saying the game was bad, and then everybody was using these reviews to try to like fucking discount me and tell me that I was wrong. Well, I was right, just like all the other times, and everybody else was wrong. So the fact is that New World is like the biggest game in the world, right? It's the biggest game in the world. And so, you know, not maybe not in the world, but like it's huge. So like everybody wants to get the review out fast, and because of that, they didn't actually review it. And I think that that's one of the natures of like video game reviews in general, and how they fall short in terms of long-term live service games. But the issue is that this has been going on now, and New World came out in 2021. So this has been like ongoing way longer than AI has existed. It's just that AI is another force multiplier for that same demand.
So many different fronts. And we have an example of that from the very same week that published. VGC revealed that Zifter was playing up most of the staff at Eurogamer and at the YouTube outlet Outside Xbox. And of course, this is not the first round. All of these sites just wanted out of the media business.
Yeah.
Cut since.
Yeah.
It's a good thing that independent, holy shit. Now, the people who have been gutted by...
I mean, like, there's also, like, the idea that there are some companies that aren't doing this. Like, I would be shocked if there were not writers for places like the New York Times and Forbes that use AI to outline their videos, or not videos, excuse me, outline their articles and outline their editorials. I bet they probably already do this. Like, this isn't like some kind of like new thing or whatever. It's probably been going on for quite a while. Yeah, for sure, exactly.
All of this, well, some of them are trying to fight back. We've got outlets like VGC and Aftermath that have sprung up as kind of independent, user-funded alternatives, some being free of advertising and all the SEO mandates that would otherwise just have them pumping out guides until they literally die. Now, Aftermath, in the days after this news broke, they published a year's worth of on the sheer scale of what ClickOut has done. Former staff.
Well, what they're trying to do is they probably and they're trying to Trojan horse to make people that are gaming. That's probably what's happening, right? I'll be right back.
Evidence. Now that is the kind of reporting that's valuable anywhere else, because it isn't guaranteed clicks. In a world where article content is primarily distributed via the likes of like Google search algorithm, you
Twitter,
just
shit
can't
like that.
really get traction and stuff like that. But the thing is, these independent outlets don't
I'm gonna
have...
be honest, like I think anybody who's struggling getting their content out there has a content quality problem. I think 95% of the people that complain about SEO don't have something that's worth clicking on, and that's their main problem. It's not Google that's holding you back, it's your own abilities.
The institutions that they came from. And of course, if the writers who powered a lot of these institutions are gone, then, well, we've got shells that just got left behind for the likes of ClickOut to acquire and then crawl their way into and puppet around, in many cases, by just pumping out loads of AI bullshit and trying to obfuscate it by making up fake writers with fake degrees from universities that they never went to.
This is going to become normalized too. Because eventually the writing quality of the AI will be good enough to where it will give people good information. It's inevitable. You have to think about it like this. AI right now is the worst it's ever going to be. And also keep in mind, the real future probably is not 100% AI. It's a person using AI to be a force multiplier for their like already high level of talent or expertise, right? That's really where AI is going to really add productivity. It's not whenever it just creates something all by itself. It's whenever it enables somebody who is a high level performer to multiply that performance by 5 or 10x.
That is preying on all of the systems that are causing the with online published content, but most importantly, it's preying on you. Resident Evil Requiem is the kind of game that is perfect for this type of fake review, because it's a highly previewed game, there's a whole series worth of writing to steal from, and the likelihood that someone would have a good experience with the game regardless of review, because the game is bloody brilliant. Now, if it hadn't have been, then someone might have bought the game and wasted their time on something they really shouldn't have, because they believed a review that looked like a real review, but actually was fake. Basically, because they put their trust in someone who doesn't exist. And it looked like it was done by someone who exists. And the reality is that the more of these fakes, the more the information space just gets polluted and polluted and polluted. That is bad for truth. And I guess what it all comes down to here is...
I think that in general, like, the big problem is that if something like this exists, you're going to have people that use it maliciously. And the same thing is going to happen with YouTube videos also. Like, YouTube videos are sometimes AI generated. Like, you have AI generated voiceovers for videos. And I think this is just going to continue becoming more and more and more popular. And obviously the reason why people do that is because it's just simply easier, faster, and sometimes better. So obviously they're going to do that. And the big one that's happening right now that nobody talks about is translating. So being a translator used to be a huge thing 50 years ago, 30 years ago. But now that you have smartphones that can automatically language identify and then language translate, then what's really the value of a translator whenever you have this tool? Well, there isn't really. So you're seeing that happen, and AI will continue to eat away at different industries based off of, like how those industries interact with different people, right? And so Sag wanted to be exactly right. It'll never happen. It's trained. No people. It'll reach the level. The AI will never be good. Okay, sure. Well, anyway, I'm sure there's so yeah, it's X is seamless action now. Yeah, exactly. I think it's going to get better too. Like even AI, like AI search engines, I think are way better now than they used to be. Do you think surgeons will get replaced? They already are. A lot of LASIK surgeries now are done by a machine. And I think also, what is the other surgery that's done by a machine? I'm trying to remember. Like there are many surgeries that are done, but like whenever it's done by a machine, that means that it's generally being overseen by a surgery, not by a surgeon. It's not like a random guy just is like sitting there like, okay, push the what? The brain surgery button? Okay. You know, it's like, I mean, obviously like a person who knows what they're doing.
Trust. And how we will get into a future where trust is just going to be in short supply. When you read or watch a review, you are taking someone else's opinion and considering it for how you plan to spend your valuable time.
Shouldn't have done that to begin with.
The review represents someone trying to communicate their experience with you, even if you disagree with them. You trust that they're earnestly trying to do that. But
I don't.
Brian Marigold
I do
cannot
not.
communicate with you. Because Brian Marigold doesn't exist.
He can. Just get a chatbot.
It's a pile of generated text designed only to manipulate online systems and get your attention. You cannot trust it. It is literally designed to deceive you and make money off you.
Oh.
This is bad. This is not something
I
that
thought it was good.
continue.
Okay.
And if you're looking for something or someone to blame, I would say it's the likes of Valnet. They are just bandits. For years and years, they've been doing this. Now that they have access to new tools, they can do the tree. Fuck them.
They're banditing hard. Fuck them. Fuck. We're gonna do a whole lot. No, Bellior is great. I mean, this is a great video. I've watched this video. So, yeah, I mean, I agree with what he's saying. I do think that AI is a lot bigger than what people think it's going to be. Do you think it's a loop, AI talking to AI, so it's regurgitating itself? Well, that's a problem, and that problem eventually will be solved, right? I mean, obviously, that's it.
Supposedly, some of these
What is this?
comments are as a result of the attempt against Mayor Mamdani in New York, who
There's an attempt against him?
was raised Muslim, was he not? Himself. So they're being anti-Muslim and they're finally defending Mamdani over something.
To be clear, the attack wasn't on Mayor Mamdani. It was
It
on
was at
people
his house.
protest. It was on.
It was at his house? Oh my God.
It was attacking protesters, people protesting Mamdani.
Right by his house.
It wasn't. To frame it as an anti-Muslim attack would actually completely reverse what happened. Someone
No,
who
I'm not
shouted
saying that it was
Allah Akbar
anti-Muslim.
threw
I'm saying that
a
they're
bomb.
finally.
She's saying that she's implying that it was an attack against him and it was at his house because she's trying to frame it as an aggression against him or his residence. That's how she's trying to frame it. Everybody knows that.
That didn't go off at the protesters.
They're trying to spin this as much as possible. This is the reason why I said the only way that you can deal with these people is to just completely oppress them and then just beat them down. That's the only way you can deal with them. You can never deal with them in the, like, basically, I think a lot of right-wing people make the mistake of trying to debate and reason with a person like this. There is no reason that you can't debate and reason with a person like this. All you can do is consolidate power and work in every single best interest that you can to remove any ability for them to have influence over anything. That's the thing that you should be doing. The moment that you try to even talk to them, you're making a mistake. The only thing you do is you go after them as aggressively as possible, and then eventually they don't have any power anymore. It's a wild take. No, it's not. I mean, like, I'll pull you up about this, and I'll listen to what you're saying here. This is a person who's trying to reframe they're trying to reframe a terrorist attack where a Muslim threw a nail bomb into a crowd of peaceful protesters as an attack on a Muslim. Do you think that there is ever any universe where you can find common ground with a person like that? And I'm asking you, like, this is a genuine question. Like, how can you possibly find common ground with a person that's trying to reframe a terrorist attack as being an attack on the person who is actually the terrorist? How does that work? Like, do you actually think that you can have a civil discourse with them? Do you think that you can, like, you know, come together and, you know, listen to them and they'll hear your point of view, and if you come up and you present a better argument, they're going to hear it and then change their point of view? Like, I mean, you don't really believe this, do you? I mean, I don't see how anybody can fall into such a naive trap. It's very obvious that's the case. I saw people in non-political Twitch chats spin this narrative too. It's extremely dangerous that the average person believes entirely false narratives. It is. And that's why, again, you can absolutely hear out their thoughts. If you want to shut down any conversation, that's wild. Why should you hear out a person that you know is lying? Do you think that you should hear out the opinions of a schizophrenic? Like, let's say there's a schizophrenic person that tells you that the moon is talking to them. Do you think that that person is worth hearing out? Of course not. The entire idea that just because somebody's saying something means it deserves to be listened to is insane. And they're idiot people with idiot ideas. Exactly. Exactly. Yep, there you go. And so yes, and why'd you start stream earlier today? Because I've been saying every single day I wanted to do it. It's daylight savings time. That's actually the main reason. So some people aren't recalibrated yet, but that's okay. And yeah, I'll wait for this real quick. And yeah, why do you assume they're lying and calling them schizo? This type of dialogue is the problem? Well, okay, so I assume that you're lying. Do you think that this woman is behaving in good faith whenever she's saying these things? Do you think that she is? Why do you assume they're lying? I'm not assuming they're lying. I'm hearing what they're saying, and I'm coming to the conclusion that they're lying based off of what they're saying. Yeah, type of dialogue is most of the problem. No, it's not. The entire idea that you can reason with people like this is a huge mistake. It's another naivete that Western communities and Western audiences and Western culture believes in. They believe that because they value critical thought and logical thinking, that everywhere else in the world and every other type of person values the same thing. They don't. You can't reason a person out of a position they didn't reason themselves into. This person did not reason themselves into this position. Therefore, any sort of reasonable conversation to them will not convince them that they're wrong. It's the same as, you know, you can't explain to somebody who believes the Bible that stars being this old is like it's like a fucking proof that the earth isn't 6,000 years old. You can't do that. It's not the way the world works. Sure seems like there's some value in their stance. She sure seems like it's okay to sit there and shut down the opposition. You're making a problem larger. Actually, it's not. So what value do you think there is in the discourse of reframing a terrorist as a victim? What value in discourse is there with that? How does that work? She's literally lying. It's blatant. Yeah, she's lying. I mean, I don't even understand this. You can be a Christian and know the universe isn't 6,000 years old. Well, the person who thinks that it is 6,000 years old is not going to be convinced by, you know, you explaining carbon dating to them. That's the point that I'm making. Does chatter even know what context is? You talking in so many absolutes? Yeah, I think that once a person engages in a level of dishonesty like that's this big, that you should never take anything that they say seriously ever again. And the reason why, and again, a stopped clock is right twice a day, right? It's definitely possible that some woman like this can have a good take on something else, but it's purely coincidental. And so that's really my point. The discourse isn't for her benefit, it's for others watch her. Well, I'll wait for one more comment on this. She's going to victim and literally admitted to being ISIS-inspired? Yes, exactly. CNN told Biden was sharp as attack? Yeah, exactly. The argument should be that it gives an honest person the opportunity to point out the dishonesty. Well, that doesn't work. See, the thing is that it doesn't, you're not understanding this. Like, you don't understand the way that these people try to spread propaganda. Their goal in the way that they try to spread propaganda is by creating a false consensus around a narrative and then pushing that narrative so hard that people are afraid to challenge it. They basically want people to live with a lie and then force that cognitive dissonance on everybody. That's what's happening. And this happened with ICE protests. It happens with everything else. It looks like this person's not really making any responses. We're just going to ban them. And anyway, there's a biblical wisdom. Don't throw the pearls to the swine. Yeah, I know. There's like the comic for that too. And so emotional manipulation with dishonest reporting. Yeah, exactly. And so Miss Solward's same with gender shit. I think the gender shit is a great example of that. And I think that to the extent that we take these people seriously is just such a huge mistake. It looks like there's not a lot of these yet, but you know, we'll have to wait and see. Let me unmute this. It looks like there's nothing else, but you know, yeah, okay, we'll see what happens. The chatter's right. In shutting them down before they can articulate themselves, you create a cancel culture. That's what you hate too. You need to hear them out and pin them down on their bad faith argument and disarm it. You think that you can pin people down on a bad faith argument and disarm it. See, this is the naivete of the Western mind. Let me explain this. The reason why you use cancel culture is because it works. Canceling people works. That's why people do it. This is like saying if you shoot your enemies, they win. You absolutely should use tools that are effective. The idea that you should not use tools that are effective because your enemy uses them is ridiculous. Nobody is actually against cancel culture. Let me actually dispel this rumor right now. Nobody is actually against cancel culture. Somebody gets exposed and they get found out to be a pedophile that are talking to underage girls, then I think everybody agrees this person should be canceled. If somebody gets exposed as like a crypto scammer and they're scamming their audience, selling them things, and the people aren't getting what they're wanting, then I think that everybody can say easily this person should be canceled. So very clearly, we're not talking about cancel culture in any sort of an objective sense. So, and canceled is nice, deleted is more like it. Yes, exactly. And that's what you hate too. You need to hear them out and pen an argument. You think that finding a bad faith argument and being able to expose a bad faith argument will cause these people to admit that they're wrong or cause people like them to realize that they're wrong. They will never do that. The words are just simply a means of manipulation to them. They're not using these words in order to communicate they're not trying to communicate an idea. They're trying to make you believe something. So when they lose, it doesn't matter. And when they win, then you lose. There's not a win condition that you have by engaging in critical thought with a person who has no value for critical thought. That's a mistake that I think a lot of Westerners make. And you'll see this as time goes on. We see this in Germany with the AfD. They get canceled as much that they create a firewall. Even the AfD has good points. I agree with you here. Yeah, but the difference is that the AfD are actual Germans. These people are, in a lot of cases, not real Americans. They don't care about American values. They just want to ruin America. That's the reality. How can you sniff those kinds of people out? It's actually extremely easy. It's very easy to find out. And so they get canceled as much. Yeah, the AfD is a totally different paradigm. It is. And also, again, the people that are shutting them down are the ones that are illogical. And yeah, what about rational Westerners that are trying to convince to be on your side? Rational Westerners that believe that stuff anybody who's rational will never come to that conclusion in the first place. And I think that that's a big mistake that you're making, is that you think that rational Westerners will ever listen to this and think that there's any validity in it. Anybody who hears this and agrees with it, or even thinks that there's any semblance of validity to it, is a complete retard, and their opinion should be completely disregarded. And you can't win that kind of a person over. The only thing that you can do is hope that they don't vote. That's really all you can do. Or hope that you can convince them. Oh, there's another one? Okay, I'll watch this one too. Why not?
So I can't speak for Mike Johnson, but
Yes.
I would say we've had 2 terrorist attacks here
Yes.
in the last 10 days.
And isn't it? I wonder what would happen if there was a terrorist attack at CNN. I bet these people would be talking about how terrible terrorist attacks are for 2 years, and how much it's shaking the country to its core, and how much it's something that, like, oh, nobody should have this happen. And yeah, listen, this is crazy. She's trying to downplay this, or at her house. Yeah, exactly.
I can't speak for Mike Johnson, but I would say we've had 2 terrorist attacks here in the last 10 days.
And
can we condemn those? Why are we?
Absolutely. What does that have to do with Muslims?
because they're the ones doing the terrorist attacks. Duh. Like, this is the type of cognitive dissonance that you're supposed to engage in. Yes, obviously.
There's a radical strain of Islam that's led to these terrorist attacks.
There are
Obviously, the vast
violent
majority
Yes.
of Muslims are
people with terroristic ideologies here and all around the world. What
Yes.
does that have to do with whether Muslims belong in American society as a group?
I don't think that's even what's being discussed.
I'd like her to hear the answer.
I'm talking about what Mike Johnson was saying.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about what he
But
didn't
you
say.
have to read his full quote. He said,
What I'm talking
we can
about
be
is what
tough
he
on
didn't
Islamic
say.
extremism without compromising our commitment to religious liberty. He was chiding those 2 members of Congress. And by the way, as a Republican,
Was he?
Yes.
I believe that the same amendment.
If this narrative is allowed to continue and people aren't able to criticize the radical terrorist Islam that is once again not allowed inside of Muslim countries like the UAE, they don't even allow this. But in America, for some reason, we're supposed to tolerate it. What it's going to lead to is people that will be openly saying that, like, and I think that remigration is a great example of this. So I think that, like, maybe 10 years ago or 15 years ago, the amount of people that were saying to, turn away the boats or especially sink the boats was extremely minimal. It was a very, very small, like, this is in Europe. And I think Europe is kind of a mining canary for where things are happening, where things are going in America too. So eventually there will be people that will just simply say that, and that will be their position. And I think that Nick Fuentes is a great example of that. Nick basically just says it. Like, a lot of people on CNN still talk around it, and they still try to use the reason why this woman is, like, she doesn't know what to say is actually because that is what she thinks. That is actually what she thinks, but she can't say that. The moment that people do think that they can say that is the moment that I think things change very, very quickly and very, very fast. So that's where I think things are going. And the moment that, like, you don't have it, and again, you're trying to reframe the conversation around all Muslims whenever the problem are 2 terrorists. That's the main issue. Yeah, I have something to say safe. Yes, exactly.
was chiding those two members of Congress. And by the way, as a Republican,
Was he?
as a Republican, I believe
Was
that
he when he said
same amendment.
there are strong language.
The same
that's being
amendment
thrown
that
around.
gives
Is
those
it
two
strong
members of
language or
Congress.
is it bigotry, Joe?
The same amendment.
I think that I think that we are speed running right now. I do. I think we are speed running. And I don't know if people realize it, but I think things are changing extremely fast right now. And because I'm listening to like the narrative, I'm listening to how people are talking about this. I think that the discourse on this topic is going to be like 180 degrees different in like 2 years from now, if not less than that.
That gives those two members of Congress the right to say things that are offensive, that I find actually offensive as well, is the same amendment that permits Muslim people to be here proudly and
Nobody
practically.
said that my
That's it.
Yeah, sure. And can you let the gentleman talk? No, they never let these people talk at all. 100%, brother, is about 60 years ahead. And how the fuck is this the main conversation? U.S. Muslims, fuck them all. I mean, I don't think that's really a big thing, right? I mean, I don't think it really has to do with Muslims. It's just more. I think that it's another example of an identity group clearly having a larger propensity to, you know, like, let's say terrorism, right? With this case, it's very obvious that the overwhelming majority of these terrorist attacks, at least for religious-based ones, are Islamic, right? This is obvious. Everybody knows this. But we're not supposed to say that, number one, and then whenever people bring it up, people say, well, what about every other Muslim? Well, obviously not every Muslim does that. I mean, of course not. But there are some that do, and that needs to be discussed in a legitimate way. And when you constantly reframe it into trying to make a blanket statement, I think that it alienates a lot of people, and I think that's what's happened. Same way they mix legal and illegal immigrants. Yeah, I think that's exactly it, and that's the same exact thing. Is they try to like blend them together, make it like, oh, it's the same thing. I don't think it is at all. They don't speak out against the radicals, though. That's because they protect the radicals. That's the reason why they want the radicals. That's the only rational reason that you can come to. And cancel culture works so well, like you say. Can you explain Trump winning 2 elections and the right winning so much in the last 8 years? Well, it's because Elon Musk bought Twitter. That's the reason why. If Elon Musk had not bought Twitter, I think that we would be living inside of the same cancel culture hellhole that we existed in before. I think the truth is that if Elon didn't buy Twitter, we would probably be still talking about how people need to get, their next booster shot. People need to get this next thing. It's scary. Yeah, no, think about it. Because Elon buying Twitter was the crack in the dam of freedom of speech and freedom of expression. And for the longest time, you could not express yourself on any platform. Instagram was censored. Facebook was censored. TikTok was censored. YouTube was censored. Twitter obviously was censored. Reddit was censored. So there was no place on the internet where people with these minds could come together and congregate and have an opinion on anything. And I think that what that led to is that basically there was a complete shutdown on that ideology. And if it wasn't for Elon effectively strong-arming and buying Twitter and saying, no, this isn't going to happen, I think that we would still be living in that world. We would still have to pretend like there's more than 2 genders. We would still have to pretend like, crime is a socioeconomic problem. We would still have to pretend and engage with all of these bad faith ideologies constantly. And so, no, and that's the reason why I've been very, very favorable towards Elon. I don't care about Path of Exile. Oh, he had so many plays to count the POE. I don't give a fuck about that. The guy saved freedom of speech. He did. And I think anybody who's not willing to acknowledge that is being totally dishonest. Elon buying Twitter completely was a timeline shift. He totally shifted the timeline by doing that. And you can see now, as soon as that happened, every other platform changed. Because all of those people that were being pushed down, and again, that is a glitch in the matrix, that a, super, billionaire buys one of the biggest free speech platforms, says, I don't give a fuck about making any money on this, and then lets people say anything that they want. This is not something that's random. Or sorry, well, it is random, but it's not something that's within the scope of what you can even expect to have happen. The Glaze, I think he deserves it. I do. I will always be thankful for that. I will always respect Elon for that. And I think anybody who doesn't is so naive and short-sighted, it is insane. I am totally glazing him for that. Absolutely. I think it's amazing that he did it, and I don't know why anybody would even disagree. 100 fucking percent, man. Like, absolutely. How is that not the case? You got to thank him for that? Yeah, we sure do. And yeah, it was such a big deal. Yes, it was such a, too bad it's a Jewish site now. It's not, how is it a Jewish site? I hear shit that's about killing Jews every day on Twitter. What are you talking about? That's not even true. Like, what, because you saw some Jewish person saying something that made you mad? I mostly agree, but I also hate seeing those weirdos posting their opinions now. Well, those weirdos' opinions used to be undisagreeable. Like, you weren't allowed to disagree with those weirdos before. Those weirdos had a complete, like, lockdown on all discourse. Nobody was able to say anything to contest those weirdos. Like, those people that think that, you know, like, they think that they're, remember whenever Twitch put that person in charge of the Trust and Safety Council that thought that they were like a deer? I mean, this is a mental illness. It's obviously a mental illness, and anybody who's pretending like it's not is engaging in a lie. So, at a certain point, back then, everybody had to play along and say, wow, wow, that's crazy, wow. Now we don't have to do that anymore. And I think that if Elon didn't buy Twitter, we'd still be having to say, wow. That's it. Yeah, they used to ban you for misgendering. It's not even remotely close. And Discord's still authoritarian garbage. Well, I don't know about Discord. I have no idea about that. Did you see about the huge Iran cyber attack? No, I haven't heard about that at all. Twitch is still pretty much a leftist echo chamber other than a few streams. Well, at the end of the day, that's because Twitch wants to make its rules that way, but Twitch has become increasingly less that way. Do you remember back a few years ago whenever people were afraid to even saying the word retarded? Like, I mean, if I did my streams the way that I do right now, if I did that 3 years ago, I would get permanently banned. I would be. 4 years ago, if I did this in 2021, I would be permanently banned in one day. I would. And I think everybody knows that. So, like, again, that's my viewpoint on it. That's the reason why I will always support Elon. That's the reason why I think that everybody should respect that. If you care about Western culture, Western society, freedom of thought, you need to say thank you for that. You do. And I don't think that people understand how big of an influence that had. That totally shifted the entire internet. Because it showed that those opinions and those values were completely unpopular. The oppression of speech was what they wanted, but of course it still wasn't enough. They got what they wanted, yet they weren't happy. They kept demanding more control. That's how they are with everything. Well, yeah, of course, right? Because when you wield power through grievance, the worst thing that can happen to you is getting what you want. Because then you lose your power. Because if you're happy, you have no grievance. If you have no grievance, you have no power. So that means that you're never happy, so you can always have grievance, so you can always have power. That's the reason why these people always move on to the next thing. It's because them being upset and angry is the entire power structure around their influence. So that's the way it works. I mean, I feel like a lot of people know that, but people might not say it.
Good day, fellas. I hope you are ready for your daily dose of skill, and we are recording the video live. Well, live streaming. Listen, important news. Wargaming finally realized that something is not right. And Wargaming is saying, Matchmaker, we are and where we are going. Okay, where we are. Let's read and let's have some fun. A look back at update 2.0. Before talking what is next, let's establish where things stand after update 2.0. Not to dwell on the past, but because it is important context on the road ahead. In my humble opinion, all of this what they are saying is just stroking, yeah, we are going to the right direction. The matchmaking at this point in time is horrible. And you can showcase whatever you want to. Let's talk about this. Role balance, a major improvement. Role balance saw the most significant improvement. Over 97% of the role imbalanced battles we have identified at the Tier 8, Tier 10 have been eliminated since update 2.0. Okay, I have a question. Did you felt a quality of life changes since 2.0? I'm not talking about the first 2 months of the 2.0 being in the game. I am talking about overall matchmaking at this point in time, like right now. How matchmaking is looking like. Because personally, I can tell you that matchmaking has been the most disgusting part of the game for many, many months at this point in time. I can tell you from my point of view, but I get it, Wargaming needs to glaze it a bit, so feel free to do so, Wargaming. Feel free to glaze it as much as you want to. I think whatever this graph is, it's irrelevant because how community feels or how most of the people are feeling like matchmaking is utter pile of caco. Straight up. No shit talking, just saying that straight. It is big pile of caco at this point in time. Tank Destroyer limits. Tank Destroyer limits delivered clear, measurable results. Battles with 7 to 8 tank destroyers per side and slow and punishing standoffs where pushing the flank felt almost futile no longer happen. That is true. We need to give that. At this point in time, we have like 5 TDs per team. That is great. With most battles landing 3 to 4 tank destroyers, fair. Vehicle distribution also improved, particularly at the lower tiers. Identical vehicles are now spread more evenly. That is, I don't really think it is the case, to be fair with you. I am playing quite a bit of the lower tiers. And I have, mi scusi, I'm allergic to the bullshit. Mi scusi. I can tell you from my side that I have seen plenty of the situations whenever one team has Oho and other team has whatever else and not Oho. So it's not really the case, at least from what I see from the player standpoint or from the player point of view. But okay, glaze it. The data confirms improvements are working as intended. For gaming, I have data as well. Being more than 50% bottom tier whenever you are playing tier 8. I have some data as well, taken of more than 50% of the game's play. Yeah, okay. There is still work to do, we are listening. Matchmaker is yet not where it should be, thank you, at least we can agree on something. Several persistent issues require more time, more data, more careful iteration than single update allows. And we've been working through them. Okay. There are some improvements we are planning to test. If everything goes well, bring them to the game by the end of the summer. So I will highlight what that means. That means in half year, Wargaming will come with article by saying, you know, holiday ops is coming and we are listening for the community opinion and we are going to make game better together. Some sugarcoating good news before holiday op season starts. Good job, Wargaming. Smart. I must admit you are doing the things pretty damn smart. I need to admit it. Good job. Good job. I mean, let's be very honest. It's better for them to work on the things than not to work on the things. But, you know, it's okay. So pretty much they are doing tests. What they are testing? What is coming next? Light tank sub-rolls. I hear that somewhere. Do you remember there was some kind of villager whining about the light tanks being mismatched? And do you remember that? Do you remember that, fellas? Light tanks play fundamental different roles on the battlefield and the matchmaker currently doesn't affect that. A damage-focused light tank and spotting-focused light tank are not the same as to the team. Wow! No way! No way! Crazy! Treating them as equal creates imbalances that neither side benefits from. Wow, Wargaming can write, I can tell you that much. We are planning to introduce the 3 sub-role classifications: versatile, damage focused, and spot focused. Great! These are based on how the vehicle actually behave in the battle, the matchmaker will use these build more coherent team compositions. Amazing. Congratulations, Wargaming, you are cooking. Now, all of the sarcasm aside, this is a very, very good change. This is very, very good thing. I do not understand what do they need to do for half year in order to implement it yesterday? But okay. Capping SPGs 2 per team. 3 SPGs per side doesn't happen often, but when it does, it is noticeable shift the dynamic of the battle in ways most players find frustrating. We are removing that scenario entirely. You know, lately I've been playing some lower tiers, like tier 5s, tier 6s. You know how fun it is to get 3 artists in the game, and I would not say that it is that uncommon, to be fair with you. But once again, extremely great change. Nothing to say, nothing to complain. Once again, it should have happened yesterday. The new hard cap will be 2 SPGs per team. This is about making artillery present, stable, and predictable. Something players can factor in rather than occasionally be surprised by. 2 per side is the right ceiling, and that's what we are aiming for. To be completely honest with you, most of the people would say that 1 Arta should be tops. I would rather have games, personally, every single game I would have 1 Arta, then I would have games whenever there is 2 Artas, 2 Artas, 2 Artas, 2 Artas, and sometimes 0 Artas. You know what I mean? So I think that all of this, it should be 1. But once again, it's step to the right direction. Congratulations, Wargaming, you are killing it so far. Stricter platoon tier matchmaking. Wait a second. Did Wargaming actually listen, fellas? Did Wargaming actually listen? Because it feels like it. Man, I do not know whose nuts I need to shake after this, but whoever you are, congratulations. A platoon of certain tier should face a platoon of the same tier. The matchmaker doesn't always guarantee that right now. Always guarantee that right now. Are you playing your own game? I can give you thousands of examples whenever it's straight up BS what you are saying. Always guarantee that right now. No. It's not always. It's pretty much never. It's more often you will get different tier platoon than same tier platoon, at least in my opinion. But it should. Yes, we agree on something. Very nice, Wargaming. Beautiful. We are introducing strict tier-based platoon matchmaking across the board. Man, amazing. Congratulations. This is absolutely amazing. Getting this right requires careful implementation. We don't want to close one gap while opening another in form of long queue times. But direction is clear and something we are committed getting it right. Congratulations. Amazing. 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 Okay. Reduce a 2 tier above battles for tier 8 to tier 9. Man. Okay. This is one of the most consistent pieces of feedback we hear. We actively working to reduce the frequency of the tier 8 and tier 9 vehicles being pulled into the battles 2 tiers higher above them. We are actively working. Okay. Okay. Actively working, you say. Good. And to increase the share of the battles where those vehicles face opponent of the same tier or just 1 tier higher. How about 1 tier lower? How about 1 tier lower? I will give you example. How about if I played the tier 8 premium tank that I bought from my hardly begged money? if I get 50% matchmaking against the tier 9s, it's still going to be frustrating. So if I get 30% of the time matches against the tier 9s, I want to be a top tier as well. You know what I mean? So in this type of solution, I think that most of the game should be in equal environment, right? Because I can see instantly the next step, what may happen, that you are playing with your favorite defender. You are defending. We're playing with your defender. And you are getting 50% of the time tier 9 matchmaking. That won't solve the issue. That will be as well pretty frustrating. So keep this in mind for gaming, truly. To clarify, this won't translate into significant increased battles against the lower tier opponents. Oh. Oh, so you are saying that I am going to be fed for a tiger mouse by playing defender instead of being fed to the mouse. Okay. The distribution of the vehicles in the queue simply doesn't allow that. Yeah, I understand and I get it. So that being said, 70% of the games in total in the tier 8 should be against the tier 8s. 20% of the battle should be against the tier 9s, and 10% of the games should be against the tier 7s. I don't really think anyone would complain about that, with all honesty. Instead, improvement comes from more evenly matched battles overall, not from shifting the imbalance in the opposite direction. Okay. If this thing will go through, I am expecting to see 70% of the games against the tier 8s. That's what I am expecting, honestly. Because if, once again, I play tier 8 and I see tier 9s more often than I see the equal tanks, that is going to be a problem. I can instantly tell you that. And I think that's more than fair. Honestly. Fewer non-15 versus 15 battles. A 15 versus 15 battle is a standard format for a reason. Smaller battles, the kind that occurs during off-peak hours on lower population servers under specific queue conditions should be a rare exception. I will tell you a story, fellas. There is one gentleman in the stream who loves to play in L5 server, and he loves to play lower tiers. So what that means when L5 is very badly... there is no people playing in the L5 server. So what that means, that gentleman is getting matchmaking against the tier 5 bots, and he's marking his tier 5 tanks. I understand it. It definitely makes sense, but looks like this is not going to be the case, or maybe we'll have more bots on the less populated servers, so the players can farm bots. We'll see. Greetings to you, my lovely curved flowers. I love you with all my heart. We are adjusting how much making handles constant queue situations, so that full 15 versus 15 format is constantly protected. The intended experience shouldn't quietly vary based on the time or day or server you are on. Improving matchmaking together, stay in touch. Matchmaking is one of the most complex and blah 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 blah, doesn't really matter. Testing begins on L1, L4, and not 3 starting next regular update. We share that we see as we go, not just when things go well. It almost made me cry reading this. Congratulations. Now, to summarize everything up, what do we have? I think that this, once again, this spreadsheet or something is full of baloney. I truly believe in that. Matchmaking feels as worse as it ever been to, at least in my opinion. That's first thing. I am glad that Wargaming realizes that they still need to do some work. Great. Now, no cap, no jokes, straight information into the face. Light tank sub rolls, congratulations, you nailed it, that's good. I truly doubt it takes for you half year to deal with this, but okay. Capping SPGs per team, great. Nothing to complain about. It should be 1. Stricter platoon tier matchmaking, good. Should have been done long time ago. This is the biggest question mark for me. I hope Wargaming won't mess this up, because I know that there is a strategies involved into all of this, how the matchmaking works. For example, let's call him Igor. Igor started playing his game, and he is playing with Oho. Igor with Oho. He is playing with a tier 8, and Igor is taking 1 for the team, 3rd for a team, 5th for a team. 80% of the time, Igor is taking 1 for the team. But once in a full moon, Igor is seeing the tier 7 matchmaking and tier 6 matchmaking. Then Igor feels powerful, you know, and that keeps us playing the game. All of the things are, there is a lot of hidden mental things into all of this, you know. Wargaming knows exactly what they are doing. They truly do. So that being said, make it so, at least I hope that Wargaming will listen to this, and they will make it so the tier 8s and tier 9s are most often are playing against their own tiers. I'm not talking about 30% of the time, I'm talking about 70% of the time. Hopefully this is understandable, and this is kind of irrelevant, at least in the L server, I think. Maybe in the C or NAS server, this is more relevant. Overall, very positive news, very positive things. I still think that it is a bit laughable that it takes half year to do that, and I'm just being honest, but hey, that's only me. Other than that, today we can open bottle of champagne, and we can celebrate that Wargaming actually noticed that something is wrong in a game. Although, once again, read behind the message. They're saying, yeah, it's okay. It's okay. We see, but we came a big way, you know? Anyways, thank you very much for watching, fellas. I very much appreciate you. Thank you very much for being with us. Leave your comments down below. What do you think about this? And keep tanking. Have a good one, folks.
This is a video apparently made by a viewer. Thank you to Nomad and Asmongold. Nomad's one of my mods.
Hi, this video is going to be way different from the videos I have made in the past. And I never planned on making a video like this. As many of you may know, I currently live in a country where it's not doing well. I want to give a massive thanks to Asmongold and Nomad for giving me the courage to make a video like this. During the last few years, whenever major events happened inside of Iran, most big content creators didn't really talk about it. But one of
they don't talk about it at all. It's embarrassing that they don't get into it.
Only large creators who kept talking about it consistently was Asmongold. And what stood out to me wasn't just how he mentioned it. It was how he handled it. It was how he was honestly reacting to it. From the outside, that might not seem important, but when you live somewhere that feels isolated, where the internet barely works, where the platforms are blocked, where your country mostly shows up only in the headlines, having someone with that kind of reach just saying, yeah, this is happening, and treat it like real life instead of content, that hits differently.
I've heard that a lot of people from Iran are watching the content and they see it. No, I really appreciate it. I do.
Point. Asmongold was trending near the top in Iran for several days.
What? Wait, what? Wait a second. Just a minute. Oops. Here, let me. What does this say? No, I want to know what this says. Okay. Where is it? Translate to English. My friend, in the independent Western media outlets and news channels, no one is alone except you. Asmongold. Iran is one of the craziest and funniest champions. Iran has one of the craziest and funniest champions. They have very high views and likes, and they really watch and pay attention to you. Just click and see for yourself. Oh my God. How about that? On a quick note, he had to make this video on his old hardware and using multiple VPNs to even be able to upload the video. Oh my God.
Almost never happens. And it wasn't because of the drama, it was because people felt seen. So genuinely, thank you from me and everyone else who was watching your content from my country. For just
I mean, sure, it's my pleasure to do so, number one. And number two, it's that, you know, you look at a lot of these like things that happen internationally, and if these things that happen are inconvenient for certain narratives or they go against certain, you know, like kind of secondary narratives, they don't even get discussed on the media at all, because the media doesn't really care about telling people the truth. They want to tell them a story. And that's the reason why I do what I do. It's because if I don't talk about this stuff, if I don't get into this stuff, then what's going to happen is that you have basically nobody talking about it at all. Nobody has any... It's like nobody actually cares about what the truth is or what's happening.
Acknowledging that we exist. And that mattered more.
Doing more for global diplomacy than USAID? Listen, I'm doing a lot for diplomacy, but there is one man who does more, and that is I Show Speed. Bro, like that guy, they need to just take the USAID budget and just give it to him.
You probably realize. I need to say something important before we continue with this video. In this video, there are things I cannot fully explain, details, names, and even some actions I have took. Not because I want mystery, and not because I want attention, but because being specific wouldn't be safe.
It'll reveal information that could be used to reverse identify him.
So if parts feel incomplete, please understand why. This is as much as I can share safely. Maybe one day, if I live somewhere safer, I'll be able to speak about it more freely.
Don't show this to iDubbbz! Don't show this to Oh, he's not gonna like this!
I am 26 years old. I was born and raised inside of Iran, and I live in the capital. I come from a
so he's right there. He's in it.
class family, nothing special, just trying to survive like
just an average
else.
guy.
About 6 years ago, I worked with my father at a company.
This is one of the things that a lot of people don't understand about Iran, is that Iran has, and you know, historically has had some of the highest rates of, you know, like women who are inside of, you know, technology and highly educated. And Iran is actually one of the, you know, we were talking about IQ yesterday. Iran is one of the highest IQ countries in the entire world. The Iranian people are incredibly intelligent. They're very well educated. And I think that's what makes the Iranian oppression so bad, right? It's because these people were on top of the world, and they have every right to be on top of the world. But because of Islamic oppression, they are basically being treated as slaves in their own country. It's awful. The slaves to a death cult ideology. Some of them, I'm sure, would want to be Muslims and they want to be part of Islam. Sure, that's fine. But the way that they do it over there is insane. The people over there, it's not normal, you know, just, you know, American Islam. These people are fucking insane, radical psychopaths.
At the time, I earned around $150 a month. Based on the dollar rate back then, that sounds extremely low.
It's really
but
bad,
here,
yeah.
that was considered average.
Wow.
Over the last few years, everything has changed.
Yeah,
The
it's gone up
price of
massively.
dollar increased by about 249%.
And that was before it hit the event horizon, as far as I know. And that's whenever things really kind of went out of control. Has the UN ever said anything about Iran? The UN is also compromised. The UN is completely compromised. You can't trust the UN to do anything good.
We get paid in real, but almost everything is priced based on US dollars. Plus extra profit.
Of course, and why are they pricing it off of US dollars? It's because reals are fucking worthless, like they're monopoly money.
Added by the seller. You might even see real and tournament a lot. It's the same place.
I mean, bro, if you if you're number crunching currency, like what are we doing here? Yeah, this is nuts.
Why start?
Yeah, like World of Warcraft, exactly. Yeah, the stats split. Like, come on, guys.
Something else, I need to explain it's hard to explain it in words alone, so I'll simplify it. Since the early 1980s, the price increases inside of it.
The Islamic Revolution in Iran was 1979. You know, little fun fact.
The price increases inside of it have reached around has lost all of its value over time, while the home is no longer
First time.
capital.
It's like somebody saying I can't buy a home in America in like 1960. It's like we have it easy compared to them.
Costs around 50 million home, which is 500 million now.
500 million?
As translation to 1 square per meter, that's about 10.7 square feet.
What
An
the
average
fuck?
worker now earns about $107 a month. So someone has to work around 4 months just to afford 10.7 square feet of a home. That's barely the size of a small bathroom. Because of this, most people gave up on buying entirely, so people rent instead. But
What the
renting here
fuck?
works very differently than the most countries.
Yeah.
In many places, you pay 1 month of rent as deposit.
Sure.
Here, for a small apartment, if your monthly rent is around 20 million Tuman, which is 200 million Rial, you also need a down payment of 2 to 4 billion Tuman, or 20 to 40 billion Rial. That
So they're asking for really big down payments because they know that the contract that they set won't be future.